Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Investor Guys podcast. Bill, how you doing today?
I'm doing incredible. We got to be at about 120 or so episodes.
No, we're like about 130.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice,
130
nice.
episodes. And all of them are available at the investorguyspodcast.com. You can watch the actual video. All of them are also available, I believe, on your favorite podcast platform. Sometimes it takes a little while for them to get them up. Usually they're up within the week of when we post them, though. So all of them should be available on your favorite podcast platform, which brings me to an interesting point. Today, I wanted to follow through on what we were talking about on our Tuesday show. We were talking about mindset versus setting your mind. Your mindset is not going to get you anywhere, but when you set your mind to do something, you can accomplish it. And we had talked about setting your mind is the first part of it. Knowing where you're going and knowing how to get there is another part of that. So if you haven't already seen our show, the previous show to this one, go watch it at investorguyspodcast.com. It is a really good show. And we have graphics up of the various houses that we're talking about, different things that we're talking about. So go to that show, watch it live. And if you're listening to this show on your favorite podcast, go to investorguyspodcast.com and watch it, because I'm going to have actual numbers that we're going to put up today. You're going to want to see those. Grab a pencil and paper. Go through the math yourself to verify it for yourself, because today we want to talk about the follow through on that, getting your mind set to do something and then knowing where you're going. Now, a lot of people, Bill and I talk about being able to make millions of dollars fast. Okay. In fact, not yesterday, when we did the show on Tuesday, we talked about going from millions to billions. And if you can grasp how to earn money, all you have to do is grasp the structures that you need to put into place and the capital and the funding that you need to put into place in order to start building that $1 billion empire. It's not going to happen as quickly as your $1 million empire, but in a world where if you want to be that rich person, if you want an airplane, costs millions of dollars. Okay. A mega yacht is $40-50 million. Now, $40-50 million, most people are happy with $40 or $50 million. But if you want to truly be able to be rich, you want to be able to write a check for a $40 million mega yacht. You want to be able to write a check for a $20 million airplane. You want to be able to write a check for that $38 million house that we showed on Tuesday. That's being super wealthy. You can get there through real estate. Most of the people who are billionaires are real estate billionaires. Even if they started off doing something else, they start putting their money into real estate. Now, I see you wanting to say something there, Bill. Go ahead.
Well, we may have touched on this before, but Grant Cardone, who's a guy that real estate guy, and I follow Grant and have for a long time, and never met the guy, but I follow him. We have a ton of mutual acquaintances. I've just never ended up in the same place that he was at. And I'm not, there's only so many ways you can spread your time. So I'm not a member of the 10X crowd that he does, but I think it's a cool thing. So, but I was listening to him a while back, and he has a jet, and he was talking about buying his jet. And I've pretty much always thought of a jet as just an ego thing. I've had a limo before, but it was because I owned a part of a limo company. That was the reason that I went into it. So I wanted to be able to have a limo, but also like, this is, nuts. I'm not going to have somebody on staff all the time, but yet I want to have one. And so I became part of a limousine company. Another friend of mine has a very nice, he bought a used yacht for $2 million and turned it into a charter company. He bought it because he wanted a yacht, but he turned it into a charter company. He's actually turning a little profit off of it and still using it about 4 weeks out of the year. Now, Cardone gets into, this is about 2 or 3 years ago, guys, rolling into the end of the year. He's in mid-December, and the day after Christmas, his accountant calls him and says, here's the check you're going to have to write. And if I'm not mistaken, it was 8 million for taxes. And he said, well, that's not going to do, no, we got to figure out something else. He goes, well, it's the 26th. You could buy something, but you got to buy something between now and the end of the year. And it's the day after Christmas. A lot of people aren't even going to be back until after New Year's. He said, all right, so I got how much I can spend. He goes, well, obviously you got 8 million you can spend. And it has to be for the business, a business investment by the business for the business. And you and I have had a lot of these kind of conversations privately. So he picked the phone up and called a guy that he knew that sold jets and said, I want to buy a jet. What can I buy for 8? The guy started telling him, and he's like, okay, so you got to fly up. And if I think he bought a Bombardier, so he was up in Appleton, Wisconsin. And he's like, so you got to fly up here and let's check it. He says, no, you do not understand. I'm buying a jet, and I'm buying it today so that you can have it delivered to me no later than midnight on the 31st of December, because my taxes are paying for this. Do you understand what I'm telling you? And the guy goes, I've never had anybody do that. And he goes, I don't care. Do you want to sell me a jet or not? And the guy's, well, yeah. Can you get it here? Yeah. Okay, now tell me what you got in this price range. And he started telling him, and he said in about 15, 20 minutes, he had decided on which one. And he said, okay, I need wiring instructions. And so that may sound insane to you, but the federal government bought my jet, and they bought it because that money was going to the IRS. But yet I could go buy a jet with it that I get to take all of the trips on, and my business own it. It is a business asset, and the federal government paid for it. Those are the kind of things, when you start understanding the flow of money, everything can be a business. Could he charter that? Certainly. Now he's in a different position. That's not a deal. When I was in the limo company, the reason I was in it was so that it could also turn around and turn a profit. And so when you find the things that you like, we talk about this with vacation properties all the time. Find a place you want to go, buy a vacation property there, let the property pay for itself and even put money in your pocket. And then you have the ability to turn around and spend X number of weeks a year there. And it's just the coolest thing, but you have to conceptually wrap your mind around that. Once you do that, and I know we're over here, once you do that, you have the ability to see opportunity differently. So when we come back from break, let's get into these numbers so that people can start to understand what real estate can open up for you, the doors that it can open.
And we'll be back in just a minute.
11 months out of the year, Bill and I host real estate buyers events in cities like Cleveland, Ohio, where we ourselves invest and see great returns. We show investors the types of strategies we're using, the types of properties we're using. We introduce them to people here on the ground and the resources that they can use to get started right away. Day 4 of this event, we're actually touring properties and making offers on properties. This event was designed to put properties in your portfolio right away, high-performing properties. Read more about the Real Estate Buyers event. Get registered. We'll see you at the next event, realestatebuyersevent.com.
You want to be a real estate investing millionaire? Be able to buy a luxury car or maybe a nice boat? How about a bigger house in a nice neighborhood? Being a real estate millionaire is a dream come true for so many, and it was for me at one time also. But in a world of $500,000 cars, multi-million-dollar planes, and yachts, and vacation homes that cost in the tens of millions of dollars, why would I settle for just being a millionaire? I want more, and you should too. New for 2022, the Billionaire Training Academy, the only program of its type designed to create billionaires. This program is not about real estate strategies. It's about scaling real estate strategies, starting small and growing into multi-million-dollar deals and beyond. It's about the business of building a billion-dollar real estate empire, setting your business up to do and obtain business credit, funding, and more. Understanding where to go and how to obtain literally limitless funding for real estate projects, and being able to put together the types of high caliber projects that are going to show multi-million dollar profits for your business. This program is about building your business team, business structure, structuring partnerships, and attracting more investment capital than you'll ever have projects to apply it to. This program will show you how to build a billion-dollar real estate investing empire by building the business that will drive it, power it, support it, manage it, and more. This is not an event where we're going to try and dazzle you with light shows and feel-good sing-alongs. This is an exclusive one-week intensive program. This is Billionaire CEO Training Bootcamp. This is roll up your sleeves, get to work, and get started right away. From the moment you arrive, we'll treat you like the CEO, founder of a growing billion-dollar real estate investing company that you are. Come ready to get started, and that is exactly what will happen. Read more and get signed up at the BillionaireTrainingAcademy.com. That's BillionaireTrainingAcademy.com.
And we're back, and we're talking about private jets, we're talking about limos, we're talking about yachts, talking about all kinds of great things. But how do you get from where you are now to that point? Off the camera while we were on our break, Bill and I were talking about, I don't want a plane. I actually like taking Black Jet. I like taking Sentient. It's easier for me to manage. I don't want to have to pay for the insurance for a jet. I don't want to have to pay for the hangar for the jet, have a pilot on standby all the time that you have to pay for. It's just not me. Now, I love boats. I've got boats and I love boats. People call boats a giant hole in the water where you pound money into. That's what I like to do. And I like cars. I collect cars and I love cars. Let's talk about, though, how you get to the point where you get to pick what you want to put your money into. You get to pick the toys that you want. Again, Bill and I are always saying, to get from where you are now to $1 million or to Millionaire or to Billionaire, okay, it's steps that you take, but they are absolutely achievable. So many people are like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. You know what? Henry Ford said, whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right. So if you say you can't do it, you're absolutely right. You can't do it. Turn this off, go do something else, because it's not going to happen for you.
Yeah.
If you
Go
believe you
pull
can,
up Netflix,
and you're willing to put your mind to it, to set your mind to it, then get your paper and pencil out and follow along with us. Now, I'm going to show you numbers, okay? And then we're going to talk about how we get to those numbers, okay? Now, these are going to be mind-blowing, and they're going to get more and more exciting as we go along. This is what we get if we start off with, hang on, sorry about that, $100,000 at 50% for 10 years, okay? So we, all day long, Bill and I talk about finding investments that we can get for 50% plus annual ROI. So if we're using $100,000 to invest one time, this is $100,000 one time, okay? We put it into a strategy that is going to return 50% year in, year out. We reinvest that 50% that we make back into the same 50% strategy at the end of 10 years. Bill, tell me what that says in blue on the bottom right corner.
5,766,503.91.
And 91 cents from $100,000 in 10 years, doing a 50% annual return on investment. Here you are, a millionaire. Now, actually, look, if you pay attention to that right blue column, okay, at what point do you reach millionaire? Year 6. Year 6, you have $1,139,000. Now, this is money that you got coming in and equity that you have in your properties. This equity represents 1/5 of the retail value of your portfolio. So you can take this number down here, this $5 million, take it times 5, and that is going to be roughly the retail value of the portfolio, your real estate portfolio that you have. Let's go ahead and move on to another one. This
now, before you do, I want everybody to just grasp this for a second. When we get into year 6, and we're pulling up, leave the numbers up for a minute for me so I can.
Okay, sorry.
So we're, because I'm pointing out, and I'm not pointing at you, I'm pointing at the numbers myself. So we get up to year 6. We get up to year 6, and we're now looking at this 799. Our year 6, we're at 1.14. That's money that's come in that year. This is what you have to look at. And the easiest way for us to get you to grasp, if you haven't yet, and you have it by this chart, to get you to grasp there's an old math fable, trick, myth, truism is what it is, and my dad taught me this. Gosh, I was a little guy. And he said, would you rather have $1 million or would you rather have a penny a day that doubles every day for a year? And I'm like, oh gosh, well, I'd rather have $1 million. And of course, I would have cost myself several $1 million, because if you take one penny every day and it doubles. So start out with a penny today, you got 2 pennies tomorrow, you got 4 the next day, you've got 8 the next day, and boom, 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 boom. It's that doubling effect that suddenly you hit a tipping point and it goes insane. That's what happens when you are doing this and you're reinvesting at 50%. Yeah, you're not doubling every day, but we're talking about serious dollars here. And you just take a look at going from 100 to 150 in the first 12 months. That is a significant return. And it's, what am I doing to be smart with that? Now, if I'm in a corporation and I take that 150 and I reinvest it, how much taxes do I have, Kevin?
If it depends on how you set it up. If you reinvest,
if I'm in a corporation, if I'm in a C corp and I'm reinvesting it back into more assets of the corporation,
you're not paying taxes on it because it's not seen as income.
So that's a crucial point for you guys to remember. So that's how I can go from 1 to 150 and have the full 150 to reinvest. And now you get a nice bump from year one at the end of the first year to the second year, from 150 to 225. But then, and that's a significant increase, but boy, you just start taking off then, and look at the incremental increase. Now, yes, you're leaving the funds in there, but if you have a corporation, a C corp, you can turn around and take that, and your corporation own a house that you happen to live in? Corporations do it all the time. Can the corporation have your vehicles? The corporation can do all kind of stuff like that and cut down on what your personal income ends up coming out to be. So, man, if you grasp this, study it.
As we go through these slides, I want you to also consider that bottom number in blue. Okay. If after 10 years, you decide never to reinvest any of that money, you're going to make half of that every single year. You're going to be making almost $3 million that's going to grow every single year in profit if you never reinvested. And that is from taking $100,000 one time. Now, let me jump up to this next slide. I have real estate investments, and Bill has had also. I have vacation properties to 140% annual ROI. This is using that same number, that $100,000, okay, putting it into strategies that exist for 140% ROI. What is that number up bottom right? And we're gonna go long because we got a lot of slides to get through. So bottom number,
say, we're way over already. Did you want to hold this till we got back?
634 million, $33, 809.65 cents. Again, if you didn't invest anything after 10 years, you're earning half of that. You're earning more than $300 million on a $100,000 initial investment. Now,
so Kevin,
yeah.
So I have a question to ask you that affects every single listener. Let's hit it when we come back.
Okay. Actually, we're not going to take a break because we've got lots more slides to go through. Okay.
So let me
we're going to power through this, but I got something I'm going to ask you. Okay. If you can come up with $100,000, okay. And Bill, you know this, and I know this. All right. If somebody can come up with $100,000 to invest year one, don't you think, can't somebody come up with $100,000 every single year to invest?
Sure.
You know,
absolutely.
Once it's easier. It is. Once you know how to do it, it's easier. And you've got Bill and I saying, yeah, but you guys have been doing it. But you know what? We know how to do it. And that's just it. Once you learn how to do it, once you know how to do it, you can do it too. $100,000, I promise you, it is not a lot of money. Bill and I had a conversation just really quick before we came on. I'm setting up a fund. And Bill says, you know what? I could fundraise for you all day long. We could make this a multi-billion-dollar fund. And once you know how to do it, once you know how to tap into that capital, it is not difficult at all to be able to. $100,000 a year is nothing. Okay, so I ran these numbers. This is at 50%. Okay, but now we're putting in $100,000 every single year. Okay,
Wow.
so $100,000 every single year for 10 years at 50%. What do we have on that bottom number? That's 17 million.
17 million
At 50%.
$99. Yeah. $99,000.
And ironically,
So
remember,
basically 17.1.
at $100,000 starting point, we were at $1 million year 6. Here we're at $1 million year 4. Okay. Watch how this jumps when we get to 140%. Again, same numbers, but putting $100,000 in every single year for 10 years. Because like I said, once you understand how to get that $100,000, $100,000 a year is not a big deal. What is that number there, Bill? Because we went from millions to billions now.
Yeah, that's $1,086,843,673.69.
Right. So if you stop reinvesting year 10, you are still making more than $500 million every single year by working. It's not even that difficult, not even that hard to come up with $100,000. Okay. Putting it into a strategy is going to earn you 140%. Now, we are going to take a break here really quick, but we've got a lot more that we're going to go through that's going to be even more mind-blowing. So stick with us. We'll be back in a minute.
You want to be a real estate investing millionaire? Be able to buy a luxury car or maybe a nice boat? How about a bigger house in a nice neighborhood? Being a real estate millionaire is a dream come true for so many, and it was for me at one time also. But in a world of $500,000 cars, multi-million-dollar planes, and yachts, and vacation homes that cost in the tens of millions of dollars, why would I settle for just being a millionaire? I want more, and you should too. New for 2022, the Billionaire Training Academy, the only program of its type designed to create billionaires. This program is not about real estate strategies. It's about scaling real estate strategies, starting small and growing into multi-million-dollar deals and beyond. It's about the business of building a billion-dollar real estate empire, setting your business up to do and obtain business credit, funding, and more. Understanding where to go and how to obtain literally limitless funding for real estate projects, and being able to put together the types of high caliber projects that are going to show multi-million-dollar profits for your business. This program is about building your business team, business structure, structuring partnerships, and attracting more investment capital than you'll ever have projects to apply it to. This program will show you how to build a billion-dollar real estate investing empire by building the business that will drive it, power it, support it, manage it, and more. This is not an event where we're going to try and dazzle you with light shows and feel-good sing-alongs. This is an exclusive one-week intensive program. This is Billionaire CEO Training Bootcamp. This is roll up your sleeves, get to work, and get started right away. From the moment you arrive, we'll treat you like the CEO founder of a growing billion-dollar real estate investing company that you are. Come ready to get started, and that is exactly what will happen. Read more and get signed up at the billionairetrainingacademy.com. That's billionairetrainingacademy.com.
Are you ready to start adding performing properties to your portfolio, high performing properties to your portfolio? If so, check out the Real Estate Buyers event. Once a month, with the exception of December, Bill and I host a real estate buyers event in a high performing market where he and I are both investing. He and I both have experience. We share our experiences, our resources, what to buy, what not to buy, where not to buy, what strategies to use to get great returns on your investment in these markets. If you want to read more about it and you want to join us for one of these future real estate buyers events, go to realestatebuyerevent.com. That's realestatebuyerevent.com. We'll see you there.
And we're back, and today we're talking numbers, and I'm just going to jump right back into the numbers because we are going to be way long on this show because I have got all kinds of great numbers to show you. Let me go back here. This next slide, okay, sorry about this. This is starting off. Remember we said if you can make $100,000, it's easy. This is starting off with $100,000. Your first year, you're learning how to do it. You put $100,000 your first year, okay? Year 2 through 9, you're using $500,000. It can be other people's money, okay? $500,000. What is that number on the bottom right corner at 50%, starting with $100,000, putting in $500,000 every single year?
62.4 bill.
Right. 62.4 million. And again, remember,
Million.
half of that at 50%, is what you are going to be earning every single year if you decide never to invest again. These are those same numbers at 140%.
So you know who Charlie Munger is?
No, I don't. That's almost $3 billion though, for those of you who are looking.
Yeah. Charlie Munger is Warren Buffett's investing partner. One of the quotes that Charlie Munger said was, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher it a little bit, but the crux of the quote is correct, which is, do whatever it takes. If you have to eat every meal at some place that you use a coupon to get your hands on $100,000 so that you can start investing.
Yes. And on a future show, I want to talk about how we can actually save 20,000 plus just by skipping our coffee every single day. That's a year. All right. Looking at this one right here, this is $1 million. Okay. If you can come up with $100,000, you can come up with $500,000. You can learn how to do this with $1 million. Okay.
Yep.
So this is $1 million at 50%. This is what we've got.
170, basically 171. Yeah.
Right.
171
at $1 million.
10 years.
Right. This is at 140%. Okay. Now remember, we just told you, I have properties. Bill's had properties in the past. He may still have now. I don't know what his portfolio looks like. I have properties right now that are earning more than 140%. I have Section 8 properties that are earning close to 200% ROI. So when I say 140%, this isn't your everyday animal. You're not going to be able to throw your dart at the MLS and get this, but they are out there. It's not that hard to find. Like you're not going to waste your life looking.
Just got to know how.
But they are, exactly. And you have to know the right deals. This is not going to be your average deal. This is going to be a deal that's going to cost you a little bit more. That's why I'm talking about $1 million. Now, your ROI on $1 million deals and multi-million dollar deals is going to be a lot more than 140%. A lot more than 140%. But running it at 140%, this is a $10 billion at 10 years. This is $10 billion. If you never invest another dime in your life at 140%, you're talking about $15 billion every year that you're going to make year 11 on if you never reinvest any of this money. $15 billion, $200,411,431.68 to be precise. Emphasize that once you understand how to raise capital, once you understand the strategies for the real estate that's going to find you these types of deals and these types of returns, it is not difficult. If you watch the show from Tuesday, if you haven't already, go back and watch it. Okay. We closed it out with reminding you, if you know the recipe for something, you can duplicate it. If you know the blueprint, if you know the roadmap, when pirates would bury their treasure, they would draw a map. It was called a treasure map. If you found that treasure map, you would be able to find that treasure. This is exactly the same thing. You need to figure out, and guess what? There's a lot of different treasure maps out there that are going to lead you to this treasure. You need to find the one that's going to work for you. But most importantly, you have to set your mind to doing this first. Once you've set your mind to this, it's going to be easy for you to say, you know what? I'm going to save my time. I'm going to save my effort. I'm going to save my heartache. And I'm going to learn how to do this, how to get to where I need to go. This is what I want to accomplish. So we talked again, Bill the Billionaire. We talked about going from millions to billions. That is literally how easy it is if you look at those numbers. Now, keep in mind, there are other steps to take in there. We talked about corporations earlier on in this show. Okay. We talked about business structures. I have corporations that have multi-million dollar lines of credit that I can tap into. I have to pay that back, but I can literally, if I'm starting with nothing and I need to tap into corporate credit, I can set up corporations and within a year have $1 million plus in corporate credit that I can tap into. You need to know how to do these things, and you need to learn where to go, who to talk to, how to get it to set up. Once you've done that, it's done. You have the keys to the kingdom. Anything to add on this very, very, very long show, Mr. Bill the Billionaire?
Well, we talk about millions and billions, and probably most of the people that are watching and listening are relatively close to the same age as you and I. And so if you were
25.
born in the, that's right. If you were born in the 50s or 60s, early 70s, you know, today, how we perceive a billionaire is how we perceived a millionaire back then. So if you're a baby boomer, how you perceived a millionaire when you were growing up and as a young person is how a billionaire is perceived today. And because of the internet and how marketing is able to be done and how you can reach exponentially larger audiences at incredibly reduced dollar amounts, you find companies like we mentioned Tom Bilyeu the other day, who's the founder of Quest Nutrition Bars, who founded the company with zero and in 4 years sold it for $1 billion. I have another acquaintance, Russell Brunson with ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels is about to be 6 years old. So they started it, he and his partner started it 6 years ago with zero sales. They'll do in cash collected this year right at $200 million. When you look at selling a company like that, you can sell off of cash earnings, and that company would easily be $1 billion and maybe like a $1.4 to $1.5 billion company in 6 years. I have another guy that I follow. I don't actually know Alex Hermosi, who in 4 years is doing $180 million a year from zero, guys. So you start looking at those kind of things, and you understand the impact that the internet has had on being able to market. And so much of what we're doing as real estate investors has to do with marketing, whether we're doing outbound marketing on selling our properties or filling our properties, and whether we're using that access to be able to look at property, not only all over the country, but property all over the world, that before we'd hear about, or we'd see pictures in somebody's vacation portfolio. And now we can actually go see those properties online today. We can set up an appointment, have the real estate agent walk through, do a FaceTime, do a Zoom, do whatever, but we can have live connection with that property anywhere in the world and walk through and see it almost as good as us being there.
And to put these numbers in perspective, okay, for those of you who know who Justin Bieber is, Justin Bieber's net worth is only $140 million. Everybody knows who LeBron James is. LeBron James' net worth is less than $1 billion. It's $850 million with an M, not a B. Okay. We just showed you how you could have $10 billion plus if you know how to work the numbers, you know how to get the capital, you know how to reinvest. You can just be patient and reinvest that money. Now, here's another thing. If you can come up with, and we started off, said if you can come up with $100,000 once, you can come up with $100,000 every year for 10 years. Okay. If you can come up with $100,000, you can come up with $500,000. If you can come up with $500,000, you can come up with $1 million. The more you understand, the more you'll understand. If you can come up with $1 million a year, you can come up with $2 million a year. Why not let that $1 million feed this strategy and let the $1 million feed a different strategy that's going to put you into your supercars, your yachts, your mansion, everything else while you're building this $1 billion real estate empire. There's just, once you understand,
amazing.
Yeah. Once you understand it, you just have to do it. And I've had my mind set. Okay. I've set my mind to do this and I've done well. Grant Cardone, we're putting things into perspective. Grant Cardone claims he's worth 560 million. Okay. When you check it, it doesn't come up with that, but that's what Grant Cardone claims. Okay. I have more asset value than Grant Cardone. I'm not bragging, but I have more asset value than Grant Cardone. I'm changing my mind. I am setting my mind to do more. I am setting things up to where I am going to be at that billion figure. I won't personally have $1 billion in my bank account. It'll be $1 billion worth of assets. I don't need the supercars. I'm happy with the cars that I have. I don't need the plane with my initials on it like Grant has. I'm happy taking Quinty and Chet from Black Jet. I would like a nicer boat. The money that you make is not the money that's in your bank account. It is the value that you have. Now, you can take that money if you want, put it in your bank account, but I promise you, when you make $1 million, you'll spend it. No problem. $1 million will not be enough. When you make $2 million, you'll spend it. It won't be enough. When you're making billions of dollars, you're not going to be spending it. You're not going to be able to find enough ways to spend $1 billion if you're making $1 billion plus every single year. So put it to good use. Put it to things that are going to make the world better. And that's where I'm working right now. That's what I'm doing. And that's what, if Bill's not already doing it, that's what I'm going to be twisting Bill's arm.
Yeah.
Well, so
I am doing it. There's a need out there that everything I do is built toward filling that need.
Well, I'm not talking about filling needs. I'm talking about turning you into a billionaire. Billionaire Bill Barnett.
Nice ring.
That works. The BBB, Billionaire Bill Barnett. So anything to add in closing on our really long show?
A really long show. Hope it's, I hope everybody has found great value in this. Subscribe, hit the like button, all those things, whatever podcast channel you're on, do us a great review, a 5-star review on there, and pass it around to your friends. Join us here week in, week out.
Yes. And if you're listening to this show, go to the investorguyspodcast.com, watch the video, check out the numbers. If you want to verify the numbers, you can do it with a compound interest calculator. I actually put the frames up and the graphs up of the actual year by year numbers with the interest, with everything else. So you can actually go through step by step, verify the math though, and you're going to be amazed. Thank you for joining us. We will see you back here Tuesday. Bill, love you. Have a great weekend.
Love you, brother. See you now. Take care, everybody.